Up next, we have Sanity Create. So Sanity Create was launched earlier this year. Have you used it, Knut?
I'm using it all the time.
I'm using it all the time.
Actually,
So
yes.
yeah. So it's like a free form, like AI powered like content writing platform. But it's not like super heavy AI. Like you can just like go in there and like write your ideas. And it used to be where you'd have to like write your ideas and like maybe you could like use AI over there and you'd have to copy and paste. But now we are connecting your documents in your studio to the Create.
Yeah. And like just like on that note, like I what I appreciate with Sanity Create, and we were tooting our own horn here, but like
Yeah.
it's like it's not AI. Like AI is like in the
Yeah.
background on the side, kind of like doing the useful stuff, and then I can like just focus on the content that I care about. Because I've tried to make AI write content for me. Uh, it's not it's not it's not there,
Yeah.
but it's awesome at like doing just kind of like unblocking my brain or like stuff like that. And
Yeah.
and one of the people who made this happen is Snorre. Hey Snorre.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Snoda.
Hi. Good that you're giving the rush introduction there.
Yeah.
So this will
Well,
definitely jumping after Cody is always a little bit intimidating, but let's try
and
to show
and
off
it's
this stuff.
interesting. Like I know all of you who are here today. Like you have worked so much on this stuff. Like
yeah.
your head is like brain space is like this all the things. You probably could talk about this for days. I know you can. We have like 10-ish minutes. So I'm gonna be brutal when we appear on screen. It's not like that's the Oscar music
Okay, it's
coming
10
right.
minutes now. Okay, I see. Let's see
But
what we can do.
I just told you that because I know you're gonna do it for 15, right? But yeah, I know you have like a lot of cool things to show us and teach us about. So yeah, I'll leave you the stage to you. Let's see if I can find your screen. There is a screen, and we're gonna scoot out of here.
Ooh.
All
Right?
right. So
May
let's
the
jump
demigods be with you.
right right into content here. So create just a very quick reminder of what it is for those of you who haven't used it. It's open for everyone to use, so you can go to Sanity io/create and check it out. But essentially, what it is, like they said, it's just a place for you to bring your notes, have your notes in the sidebar here, so you can reference them as you need to. And then if you want to use some AI, you can ground the model in reality, your reality, not some sort of, internet scraped version. Make it yours. Here I have for this presentation, I just added a little bit of a style guide for how I wanted to be thinking about it. It's slides after all. And then what I'm doing here, and then I've actually pasted the full developer documentation for the feature into as a note, but I might not be referencing this directly. Um, but let's just take a quick deep dive into AI features just for reference here. We have autocomplete. So let's say we want to have our little slide here. Then we can just command dot here, and it will do one sentence. And if I want to continue, I'll just jam with the bot. I'll just let it go. And then I'll just let it go. But I don't know like where it's going. So instead of doing copywriting now I'm doing collaborative writing. So we will, and then continue from there. So that's sort of like the ghostwriting idea. Go back and forth. And if you're stuck, you can ask for options by just clicking the little googly eye guy in the sidebar here. And then you'll get these different options to sort of unblock you. Right, so that's our little ghostwriter. Then we can also do these high-level prompts in a way, your good old instructions. So if I want to create another slide here, I can just at any time do command enter on the line of text that I've written, and it will go ahead and run that. If you also want, we also have this slash command menu, and you can start an instruction that way. And here you'll see it will do like a little bit of a thing. And since I asked it to include a little bit of an image here, it made a little generate image prompt as well. So if I accept this now, it will go ahead and insert the text here, and it will go and generate the image. And while that is happening, I can go to rewriting. And let's do this now, because this is supposed to be for developers. Let's rewrite this part so it's more developer friendly, and we should use some dry and solid puns, right? I can run this, and while this is running, you know, we didn't get our little image there, so that's good for the demo, I guess. So here we got something that were more drier and you know, more solid. I can accept or discard. So those are the AI features that we have, and then we come to the, you know, what we're all here for today, the new feature that we shipped. Up until now, Create has sort of lived in this weird little space on the side, but now Create becomes a cog in the Sanity content operating system. It makes sense now because you can connect it and you can get your unstructured Create data into your studio. And let's see how we do that. You might have seen this little one here up here, Studio Link. Now you can actually connect your Create document to a Sanity Studio, and then we can link to an actual document. If I go and pick a random thing here, a random project that I have, it will say that, you know, this hasn't been configured for Sanity Studio. Just to show you that if you have a Sanity Studio on a very recent version, like 3.64, you should be able to just go and Sanity deploy that, like do Sanity deploy. And if you're on 364 or a more recent version, then it will go ahead and deploy that, create a manifest, which is what Create will be looking for, and deploy it for you. Once you actually have done that, I can go ahead and find my little content mapping studio here. And this will actually now find out that we just have one studio hosted for this. We only have one workspace. If you have multiple ones, you'll be able to select them. And then I can choose my little slideshow document type here. So let's connect it. Once that's done, you'll see it's connected. This means that the Create document has a connection to the studio. And what's happening here? Well, we have a mapping agent running in the background now. And this thing will try to infer, based on your structure, what goes where. Some will be content, it will be green. Some will be context. It's not content. It will be gray and will not make its way into the little mini-map we have over here. As we quickly take a look here on these things, we can see that sometimes it won't necessarily do the right thing. It put this as the title. This should be the description. And this runs in real time. So I can just hint it a little bit. Let's do description. And I'll, you know, being a fat-fingered typist, let's see how this goes. What will happen now is the agent will run in bulks and look at your content and try to infer. And it comes back when you change things. So it will always go over your things. You can always sort of nudge it in the right direction. And once it sort of unlocks that, we will see that it understood that part of the sentence is context and the rest is content. And now we just have that little thing going into the description. From connection to linking, because now we're connected, let's actually link to a real Sanity document. Once we've done that, we can open up the studio, and we will fairly soon, once the sort of background processes are running, we will see that you know, we'll have everything as it's being mapped on the studio's side being updated by the agent. So let's just put this a little bit side by side here. And we might find that, oh, it's putting everything into the same slide. That's not great. Oh, it even did a code block, right? Bear with me on the small screen here. I'm just going to juggle this a little bit just to show you here. There is a little bit in the end where I have a code example here. So this I'm going to show you, and just to show you, we don't have code blocks in Create yet, but we do have code blocks in Studio, and it went ahead and mapped that over. But as we saw here now, this, I'm just going to close the Studio for a while, but as you see, this is being mapped continuously. But if we want to have, you know, it wasn't doing exactly what I wanted. I wanted more slides. So let's just hint it, new slide. I'll just add this small little, you know, programmer's hint, if you will. And then let's see if we can have it, you know, infer something differently. Because if you imagine now, we can change whole structures in our documents here. So we're basically chopping and chipping in Create, and as we're doing that, our studio document that we have linked to Create will be updated in real time. Do pay attention to this little thing. It will be read-only whilst it's linked to Create. So the studio document is read-only because Create owns the update, as it were. If we want to continue our mapping journey in the studio, then we need to unlink, right? So on the studio side, we can at any point just get rid of the doc and then click unlink. And this will prompt you to say, are you sure about this? Once you do that, this just becomes a regular old Sanity document, as you know. And I really wish for the demo here that I have time to set up presentation, because this is just a Sanity document. Anything that works with Sanity works with this linking. So if you have a live presentation or QR code I could have shared with you, wow, wouldn't that have been something? Yeah. In another universe, I would have had a little bit more time, but you just have to trust me on this one. So going back to Create now, that is essentially the journey. You connect to a studio, you link to a studio document, you keep on mapping, prompting back and forth, working on your unstructured content in Create, trying to get to a structure in Studio. And once you're happy with all of that, then you can unlink in the studio and continue the content journey from there. So how was that for time, Knut?
That was pretty much perfect. Yeah, you haven't had so much time because you've been busy actually making this product, right?
Yeah.
Doing the coding behind it. I appreciate that you kind of like had like a slides example. Just occurred to me that you can make kind of like a live content API front end.
Yep.
And you can just use Sanity as a slide deck generator kind of thing, right?
Exactly. And just to get into this a little bit, what's so hard about content mapping anyway, right? It seems so simple if you think about it, because I think we humans do this all the time. You have something that's unstructured, but we put it into buckets for ourselves to make our lives easier. And of course, with our structured content message, that makes a lot of sense. But sometimes going from this, jarbled mess of notes and just getting to the final place, we found that starting necessarily in a portable text field in the studio might not be where you want to start. So that's where Create come in. You can have, your collaboration and your notes, and someone finds the images, and maybe that makes more sense to start there.
And like we do this at Sanity, like we when we start like making landing pages, it often starts in a Google Doc. And
Yes.
I think we kind of right.
Yeah.
And I think we like when we like developed Create, we used those documents to also test it, and we looked at customers, how they are working, and like a lot of people are working like in Google Docs, and then someone has to copy paste that into the CMS, and no one likes that. So we wanted to kind of like solve for that thing, and I think this is again tooting our own horn. We are allowed to. It's really great work, Snorre. We can't actually talk too much about like the AI magic behind this. That's kind of like secret sauce. It's kind of hard to figure that out. But what we can talk about, Snorre, is like how, like, do you have like thoughts about like, how to do AI engineering? What have you kind of like learned from all this process about how to think about developing with AI and stuff?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that we found, it is always hard with the large language models and how they work. It is still to this day for me, they kind of feel like a black box or like black magic sometimes, because sometimes I use this meme from Anchorman all the time, but 60% of the time it works every time. And that's sort of how I feel with AI as well. It's always, even doing a live demo is a little bit scary because you never know what you're gonna get. My little dry solid pun there worked without actually telling it to do dry or solid, but I had to enforce it a little bit to nudge it in the right direction. I think one of the major takeaways when, for instance, working in Create, because you can actually almost soft prompt some of these functions using notes. For instance, the autocomplete that I showed you earlier with Jam with the AI, well, I actually told it to do that. I literally said in this ghostwrite section, I want the last line to be Jam with the bot. So you can do that. What you have found, maybe, Knut, because you asked me the other day, I told it not to write the thing, but it wrote the thing. And that's exactly the pink elephant problem that large language models have. When you tell it about something you don't want it to do, then you already put the idea of that thing into its mind. So what you need to do then, if you want to say don't do this, then you should always counterbalance it with something that weighs more. So you say, don't do this instead, for instance. That should help.
Sorry, I missed that. I was thinking about pink elephants.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
Well,
that's a great point.
I remember when Create first came out, I was like, oh, because I worked a lot there and there was a lot of like copying and pasting. And to finally see like we're in the future, because I'm like, what's the future of this? And now we're here and it's like easily to connect. But also, it's true. Like, it's just like a touch of AI. It's not too much. You don't have to like rely on it. You can still be creative. So it's cool that it's just like a little.
Just now, I didn't test it, but it's kind of fun to play with. And it's, you can play with your content mappings now, because what if this was a page instead, right? Okay, let's just connect to a page object instead, and now it will do page building. So, these are the sort of, I think for a content generation point of view, if you have a lot of content, if you think of images and just stuff you want to get out there, this is actually a way to explore different ways to present it without doing a lot of heavy lifting as well. So I really encourage people to see what we can do. I don't think necessarily one of the things that was absolutely the hardest with this was getting the UI right. And I don't necessarily think we're quite there yet. I didn't show the fact that you can actually hard code. Let's say we want this to be the title. I can go in there and select it. Now the AI won't touch this. Now it's locked up there. And because you can always override the AI has been one of the driving factors. But we also struggle just with the minimap. How do you convey to a user what the AI decided to do? Where is it working? What kind of thoughts is it having? And also this problem of, are we going to actually render the studio schema here in Create? And we decided not to do that. And the reason is this is mostly for getting to the things that you have, navigating in Create. If you really want to see what it looks like, you should have two monitors or a big monitor where you can have it side by side, because your custom components and all that stuff doesn't make its way into Create. So if you have a data structures and stuff that you want to have in there, then you can do that. I should also mention now on the back burner of this, because I don't know how much we'll be able to talk about it. You can, I don't know, for those of you who have used Sanity AI Assist, we have sort of like the same mechanism for Create, where you can, on your content types, you can go in and you can add options. I see we don't have define. Let's do that. Define type, right? If you have your little slug field here, and we don't want it out there in the open, then we can add a Sanity Create option and say exclude true. Now this field won't.
This is Knut, the human linter. You have to move your parentheses to a line down.
Yes, thank you. That is very helpful. Live coding always dumb. But the point is that you can, and you probably should. I would say for those of you testing with your little blog schema or basic templates, you don't have to do that. But we have customers with hundreds and hundreds of content types. They have page builders with a lot of blocks. Maybe they have portable text with, I'm looking at their own admin studio there, has 40 different blocks in the most portable text fields, and only 6 of them are used most of the time. Maybe you don't have to tell the AI about all of them. Maybe because it can't really populate the Mux video too anyway.
Exactly. All right. We are out of time. But I have one last question that I think a
Yes.
lot of people will wonder about. Like, how does it deal with references?
Well, it doesn't right now, but it will. So we have some really cool long-term plans. It will involve us improving on our indexing APIs and just general things. But if you think about it at this point, because we now actually have this schema in Create, it's fairly, and there is, we can talk to the data set that it belongs to. We can actually do queries in there. So I think there's a couple of versions of this where the AI can do some of it by itself, where you do searches. But there will probably also be a slash reference here at some point. So you can actually do like what you could do in the studio and just add a hard reference, and we don't have to even guess about it. And that, if we go that route, it's so much easier than doing the LLM thing, because search is hard.
I hope we pull it off.
Yes, me too.
Thank you so much, Snorre, for
Thank you,
sharing with
Snorre.
us. That was great.